आज हम यहाँ मिले थे सब लोग 19 जनवरी को कमेमोरेट करने के लिए। 19 जनवरी 1990 का वो दिन हमारी ज़िंदगी का, कश्मीरी पंडित कम्युनिटी की ज़िंदगी का एक सियाह लफ्ज़ों में लिखा गया दिन है। हम उस दिन अपनी मातृभूमि से सदा के लिए जुदा कर दिए गए। अपनी जो हमारी मदरलैंड थी उसको हमको छोड़ के जाना पड़ा। आज हम यहाँ मिले थे सिडनी ऑस्ट्रेलिया में। जो भी यहाँ हमारी कम्युनिटी है और लोकल हमारे मेंबर्स हैं पॉलिटिकल सेटअप के, उनको हमने रिक्वेस्ट किया था कि हमारी कहानी को सुने, हमारी आवाज़ जो आज तक दबी हुई थी वो सही जगह तक पहुंचाए ताकि हमें इंसाफ मिले। हमारी आवाज़ उन दरवाज़ों तक पहुंचाए जहां आवाज़ सुनी जानी चाहिए थी पिछले 35 सालों में और नहीं हुआ। हमारी डिमांड बहुत छोटी सी है और वो ये है कि हमें इंसाफ मिले। हमारी कम्युनिटी के साथ जो जुल्म हुआ उसका हिसाब हो और हमसे उसकी माफ़ी मांगी जाए कि ये जो हुआ उसके लिए माफ़ी मांगी जाए, उसका इंसाफ हो। आज हमने अपनी कम्युनिटी के सामने उस दर्द को दोहराया जो वाइडर कम्युनिटी है, जो पॉलिटिशियन है, जो मेंबर्स ऑफ पार्लियामेंट हैं, एक्स मेंबर्स ऑफ पार्लियामेंट हैं और जो काउंसलर्स हैं, उन्होंने हमारी आवाज़ को आगे पहुंचाने का हमें आश्वासन दिया। हमें उन्होंने प्रॉमिस किया कि वो हमारी बात को आगे बढ़ाएंगे। हमें उम्मीद है कि ये सब करने से हमारी आवाज़ सुनी जाएगी, हमें इंसाफ मिलेगा। हम इंसाफ मांगना नहीं छोड़ेंगे, मगर कानून के दायरे में रहते हुए वो सब कुछ करेंगे जो करना चाहिए। किसी ना किसी दिन तो दरवाजे खुलेंगे और हमारी आवाज़ सुनी जाएगी। ये उम्मीद हम कभी नहीं छोड़ेंगे। शुक्रिया, थैंक यू।
Exodus of Kashmiri Pandit is a very significant moment in our history. We were forced to leave not just our home and belongings, but also our heritage and centuries of culture. So we would like to honor all those who lost their lives during the Exodus and people who continue to suffer post that Exodus. So I would ask everyone to join me to observe 2 minutes silence to honor those people. So if I can request everyone to please stand and observe silence. Thank you.
We go into the background of the whole episode that culminated on the 19th of January. It is important that we understand that there was a grand plan that was executed. There was a power at play which thought that this was the day they could attain what they want. That was the separation of the state of Kashmir from the Union of India. For a person who was 20-some years old, I saw the suffering of my community standing in queues for a few kgs of tomatoes and food for blankets because it was winter. But then I said to myself, this is a terrible tragedy. Is it really? I thought to myself, isn't it liberation? I am no longer a Dalibata. I have opportunity. My children, if when they come, will have opportunity to do whatever. I am no longer in that land of events. The discrimination. I do not have the same rights. I could aspire to be an engineer or a doctor, but I could not because I had to achieve the 100 percentile, the 99.99 percentile, whereas others could do the same thing on 60%. So different people, different views, but over the years my views have changed too. Yeah, I have a good opportunity. I got what I wanted. I moved countries, I moved nations, I can do anything I want, so can my children. But I no longer have those snow-capped peaks guarding my home. When I open the windows, the roses don't smell that divine anymore. But we chose to look forward. Our story is a story of resilience, positivity. Our backs were on fire, yet we told our children to look forward and get an education. Not one of the children picked up a stone. Not one spit in anybody's face, or we slapped someone when we entered into an argument. And this is written history. There is a lot, and I have a lot to say about this day, but going forward is important for us. I just want to remind this august audience, none of our murders have ever been investigated. None of our women, the rapes, have been investigated. This is a slap in the face of that Constitution and Samvidhan that is being talked about in India. What Samvidhan? What Constitution? We knocked the doors of the Supreme Court and they said, too bad, too much water has flown down the Ganges. Your murders do not deserve any investigation. They did not listen to our complaints.
Yeah. It is a big thing for me as a federal member of Parliament in the Australian Parliament and its local member for the seat, and a former immigration and multicultural affairs minister to be here on an event like that. And I see a lot of young people here, and I know that what Sanjhe has said and relayed to us today is the human experience. Everybody in this room who's a Kashmiri Pandit has come because of these horrific events. That's the tragedy. Everything you said has brought every one of us here together today, in this room, in our great country, Australia. And Australia is such a great place because we assimilate people from every kind of background, as Sanjhe rightly said. Freedom, safety, prosperity, opportunity. But as you pointed out, Sanjhe, I think we should never give up the fight for justice. Forced migrations of people are never right. The horrific crimes that happen to so many different communities and so many backgrounds in so many situations are wrong, and we should always seek justice against the perpetrators of those horrific crimes. When we're around Australia, there's so many multicultural communities, you get so many stories of forced mass migration, forced assimilation of people in different lands, reasons why people came and sought Australia as a new home for their family. My own family, after World War II, I'm only here because of a horrific Nazi massacre in a Greek village at the end of World War II. And so I understand directly what it means to people who witnessed these horrific crimes, who had family members who were victims, who understand as a community why it matters. And in my family, for example, my own grandma, my yaya, she never spoke about it to me. I had to find out about it on the internet. She refused to speak about it. So I'm saying to every young person here today, it is so valuable to hear who you are, where you're from, and understand it. And Sanjhe is a shining example to all of you because he said about the law, he said, don't hold in your heart hate against people that wronged your ancestors, but understand it, know about it, seek justice, and never forget, what happened and why you're here. So they're profound words, and I want to say to you as a federal member, we also in Australia support the rule of law internationally. We support the Indian government and what they're doing. They're doing a good job. Kashmir is a long-standing issue, a very difficult issue, in world history, but the Australian government obviously supports the government of India in its endeavours to get this issue right. And I know progress has been made under Prime Minister Modi. So I want to thank you for the opportunity to be here today, and I want to thank everyone for the important commemoration. It was a real privilege to pay tribute today with 2 minutes silence. It's the least we could do to commemorate this very important world event, but I'm grateful to see, I think, so many kids, so many grandkids of the generation that came 35 years ago. It makes me proud as an Australian to see you all here. We're proud of you, and we're proud that you're here today paying respect to your ancestors.
He was very prevalent right from the early days, the Mughal days. The reason why we say that its attack was really brutal and it was primarily focused on Kashmir is because, as Sudhirji said, Kashmir, the land of Kashmir, was the source of knowledge, the source of every knowledgeable person, every, like the Charvakas or the Abhinavaguptas, it was a source of knowledge for the entire country. And because of that, I think initially it was targeted. But if you look at the history again, in any part of the world, in a democracy, if people don't come together and stand together as a community, I think there we open up an opportunity for somebody else to attack us. And that is one big lesson that we have to learn. My humble request to the entire community here, and the youngsters especially who are standing in big numbers today, is that what could we do to share this story? We will know this movie will not be enough for the story to reach at every corner of the world.
35 years ago today, just remembering it, I could see Ahmed, some of you in the morning, and I could see tears still rolling in their eyes. What happened 35 years ago, it's not my story to say. What happened, how it happened, and what you guys suffered, it's your story to say. But being an Indian at that time, and at least I would like to apologize for not being with you. We never saw a Kashmiri suffering as our own. It was always like something happened to Kashmiri Pandits in Kashmir. So it was never part of like, it's my country, my people, my Hindu brothers and sisters are suffering. It was never narrated like that. The entire story got corrupted with the corrupt media and the politicians. We never got the facts, what's happening in the other part of the world or India itself, we never knew it. And even not being in India, if I didn't know the facts, I don't expect the whole world to know the facts. But one thing today we can say is, we are all with you.
Vichar, I have been in this country for the last 30 years now, but still today, on 19th of January, I cannot forget what happened to us back in 35 years ago. Everyone, all of us, had suffered a lot, and I'm standing here to remember that we have to be together to get justice, which has not been done to us so far, and we will continue to be united and try to get that justice, till it happens. So we want all of us we want our whole world to know that what we have gone through, and it is not yet, everyone doesn't know what has happened to us. So the whole world should know, and we want justice.
I don't know how you measure this loss. We have ruptured ancestral ties. There is no compensation for it. I don't even know what we are asking for today. What are we standing here for? Who's listening to these stories? I was not in the valley on the 19th of January. And I don't know whether that was a blessing or a curse. Because I felt that I lost everything, and yet I can't claim it. I felt that I'm not qualified to represent the Kashmiri community here today. That's how I feel. Sometimes when I sit with a group of friends and when we talk about how beautiful Kashmir is, I close my eyes and I try to remember the view from the window. And I just think, I cannot explain this to anyone. There's no way anyone can understand it.
You heard these stories, and they have been told previously in different forms and shapes. What we want to do is to capture these stories of Kashmiri Hindus when it's here in Sydney, in Australia, and provide a real life perspective or story of our persecution. This has happened to us. It is setting an example. This should not happen anywhere in the world. We were persecuted because we were terrified. Terrorism was everywhere in that valley. And here we are, Australia, and it's a lesson for everyone, everywhere in the world, how things can slip and how a community or a majority community can persecute a minority community. And that's what exactly what happened to us. So what Vichar, what we are going to take an initiative is do a documentary where we capture these stories of people who are here in Sydney. And then because we need to convey this message, not many in Australia know our story. So we want to make sure that first people are aware. We can find a solution, we can do some solution only if people know what the story is. So we have to tell that story, and that's where we have from Vichar.
There are many documentaries on Kashmir. And the one question that came up was how our documentary is going to be different than the one which is already there on Kashmir and the exodus of Pandits. So we realized that we have to do something differently. So what we came to a conclusion that we'll make this as a docudrama instead of a documentary, which means with the real stories from your community in Sydney, what we will do is we'll weave these small stories into one full spread. So there will be a main plot of the stories, and then there will be subplots of the stories which are actually stories from you. So this is how we are gonna, make this spread. So at the moment we are at the stage of development, like we are doing research, and then we will pick up from those stories. We'll make a full spread. So now this is actually not a commercial venture, as you know. It is all, not for profit.
From Radio Darpan, we are really grateful to Yatinder ji and Samir ji for the cause of Kashmiri Pandits and for the event today. They have been great supporters of the Kashmiri community. Really appreciate the kindness. Thank you all.
We want our future generations to know what happened so that this doesn't repeat. It doesn't go anywhere else. We want this to stop. We want these people to learn, take it as a learning, understand what happened there, so that we can take corrective measures to stop this happening anywhere, in any part of the world. I again thank you everybody to come here, sharing your thoughts. It was wonderful to have you all here. Thank you very much.
35 years back, what has happened was not just about 35 years back what has happened. That was just the moment, but it was leading up to that moment. And it was Hindus losing their respect, their land, their pride. Everything was taken away from that. What this also tells us in this gathering today is that it can happen to us in our own country, in our own land, in our own backyards, in our own houses. So what we need to be aware of, remind the generation ahead of us, the future generations, and also to the wider community that these things cannot be tolerated and should be corrected, but also that this can happen anytime, anywhere. So I would request everyone to be mindful and also think about the people who are going through this persecution right now as we speak. This thing has not ended. This is going across the world, across our country, in many places, in many ways. So this is a sad day for us to see how Kashmiri Pandits were persecuted or genocide was happened with them, but also a reminder for us to keep remembering these people and make sure that this thing doesn't happen to anyone anywhere in the world. Dhanyavad.
I'm Tina Cartwright. I'm the councillor for Central Ward in the Hillshire Council. It's been an honour to attend an event commemorating the Kashmiri Pandits. I have learnt a lot about their exile. It's been very sad. It makes you realise just how fortunate we are to live in beautiful Australia, where there's peace and harmony, law and order. And all I can wish for is that everywhere around the world, there's world peace.
मैं चूनी पोतेदार कश्मीरी पंडित हूँ. मैं यहाँ ऑस्ट्रेलिया में अपनी सन-इन-लॉ और डॉटर के पास रह रही हूँ. तो हम वहाँ कश्मीर से सब घर बार छोड़ के आए जब कश्मीरी एक्सोडस हो गया 90 में. हमारा सारा लुट गया वहाँ है. हमारा घर बहुत बड़ा 5 मंजिल घर था. 3 एकड़ ज़मीन थी हमारी नगर में बिफोर नेशनल, इन फ्रंट ऑफ नेशनल हॉस्पिटल. तो वो सब हमारा ख़त्म हो गया. वहाँ इन्होंने टेररिस्टों ने आग लगाई, पूरा घर जलाया, उसको पूरा तोड़ फोड़ मसोड़ करके रखा और उन्होंने ऑक्यूपाई करा हमारा कश्मीर का मकान नगर का. वहाँ हमारे उन्होंने मुसलमानों ने ऑक्यूपेशन करी और उन्होंने वहाँ पेट्रोल पंप लगाया है और हम यहाँ घूम रहे हैं फिर. बट कश्मीरियों में इतनी हिम्मत है, वो पढ़े लिखे लोग हैं, उन्होंने बाहर जाके भी अपना छोड़ा नहीं. अपने वो तो हाई पोस्ट पर ये हैं आजकल. ऑस्ट्रेलिया में चले आए हैं, हम ऑस्ट्रेलिया में हैं. मेरा बेटा भी यहाँ है, संदीप पोतेदार. तो हमने यहाँ अपना घर बसा लिया बिकॉज ऑफ आवर इंटेलेक्चुअल. ये हमारी इंटेलेक्चुअल जो है हमारी ये, उस वजह से हमने यहाँ सब अच्छा करा. ओके, थैंक यू वेरी मच.
For all types of criminal law, family law, immigration law, conveyancing, and employment matters, please contact Tarandeep Singh on 0470 412 600.